tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Jamie's got a gun, but Jamie's got a gun. Guys, sadly, Jamie was not firing on all cylinders tonight.
No. Even a gun would not break the caramel.
Oh. That was good. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for MasterChef Season 5, Episode 15, Top 6 Compete. I am your host, Stephen Lemieux, joined here today by my amazing co-host. Sorry that Tracy is not here today, so... Unfortunately, have to deal with the trio here.
Sorry for being here.
I'm not apologizing. It is a privilege.
Well, I'm not sad that you're here, Kyle. It's
that makes sense.
Yeah, my lovely co-host, Kyle Kittleson.
Thank you. And Zach.
Yeah.
Zach and me.
Zach Wilson, everybody. Hooray. Guys, I like this episode. I thought it was a good episode.
Yes, especially compared to last week, because I felt like last week we were in the kitchen the entire time. We were moving around, but this weekend we got to go to cool restaurants. There was crying. Much better.
So Far Away down on Sunset.
Yeah, they really had to go far.
It was unpredictable.
Yes.
Like, I couldn't tell what was going to happen. Partially that was good. Partially I was just like, this seemed like who won the first competition seems so arbitrary.
I mean...
Why was that arbitrary, though? They got saved.
Yeah, they got saved. And you know what? It's been like that in the way that you, like, there's teams that win where people on the team that won you think deserve to go home.
Yes.
But that's just not how the game is, sadly.
It's not. It's not.
I didn't mean, like, arbitrary in that. I just mean, like, why red team won over blue team.
Oh, the reason they won.
Yeah, like, why they won seemed arbitrary. You know, like, in the terms of, like, what exactly was it that put them over the edge? I have no idea.
Well, what Gordon says is he says, and we'll get into it later, but he says that it's being able to bounce back from a situation.
Yes.
And literally, everyone on the red team, yeah, they fought a lot, but they bounced back. When you look at the blue team, Jamie didn't bounce back. She was just better with giving it away. And same with Courtney. She didn't bounce back. She was just better after giving it away. Yeah. So you know what? They didn't. It doesn't take effort to give responsibilities away. It takes effort to take those responsibilities, and it may be hard, but own them.
Yeah, and that's probably true. I think there's a little strategy from the show creators as well, because they really left it up into the judges' hands who they wanted on the bottom three or not. You know, they were like, based on Gordon's suggestion and feedback from the diners, like, you know, whatever that is. So
all right, so we're gonna have we're actually gonna have Christian calling in this episode. I don't know if I teased you that, guys, enough. I don't know if you watch Twitter. You will know that we've been tweeting out all day that we have Christian on about to be on the line here. So let's kind of rush through the intro of the episode so we can break it down with him.
Great.
So MasterChef Restaurant Takeover is this episode. Joe is not here. He's busy with other things. Jamie and Leslie are the team captains for winning last week. And it's like, look at the last time Leslie led, and you're like, oh, great. Look at the last time Jamie led, and you're like, oh, great.
Jamie hasn't led, to just clarify.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that Jamie was the leader, I was hoping she would go home. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in, like, it just doesn't bode well.
You're not a leader.
Yeah, you're not a leader.
Yeah.
So the teams are Jamie, Christian, and Courtney, and Team B would be Leslie, Elizabeth, and Cutter. Leslie, Elizabeth, and Cutter are Team Red. Jamie, Christian, and Courtney are Team Blue. They are serving a full dining restaurant of 50 guests at the Caviton restaurant at the Sunset Rock and Roll Marquee. And have you guys ever been to this restaurant before?
No.
It's kind of like you don't really know it's there unless you know it's there.
It's one of does that make sense? Places.
Yeah, you know.
It's like one of those places where, like, until somebody has told you about it, like, people find out about the show. Through the show, I'm sure a lot of people are going to find out about it. You don't really, like, hear about it because mostly you hear about, like, Boa and all these like really fancy like Kitsuya and all these
Right.
places. So I actually haven't been there. I almost went there once, and
Oh, you're over here acting like you had already been
No,
there.
I know.
And be like, oh, you guys haven't? Well, it's one of those places, you know.
I'm not gonna front,
Please.
but no. But guys, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
I gotta say hello to Christian Green at MC5 Christian, who's on the line with us today for the AfterBuzz TV after show for MasterChef. Christian, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how you guys doing? Good night.
That was quick.
We're doing pretty good. Great to have you on the line. First off, how do you feel about tonight's episode? Did you enjoy it? Was there times where you were just kind of like, did the editing get you like, they put that in, or trying to make you look bad anyway?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I feel that the show basically showed that, I deserve to be in the top 5. I mean, I was working with Courtney and Jamie. I was working with a captain that really could not more so speak up, and I was working with another individual who basically knew what she was doing, but as it showed, she didn't.
Have you? I forgot if there's history that I don't know here. Have you worked in a full-service kitchen prior to MasterChef, Christian?
Had I worked in a full-service kitchen? No, I worked in a retirement home.
Okay.
I was a prep cook. I don't know if that counts.
Well, it's still large quantity, dealing with large quantities of prep and everything. I don't think that they have really dealt with that aside from MasterChef. So you definitely had a great advantage, and that's good experience to have, especially when you're going to be a leader, and it puts you ahead of the rest to be the MasterChef. So working.
It's all about having poise. It's all about having poise, and if you have a good poise, if you have confidence in what you're doing, I think you'll be able to overcome anything. You just have to have the confidence, more so say.
So jumping into the menu for tonight, you guys had to make a Prince Edward Island mussels, a Parisian gnocchi, and Mediterranean sea bass and New York strip steak. When they first revealed this to you, what were your first thoughts on this menu? What did you think was going to be the challenges, and what did you think? Oh man, I got this nailed down.
The gnocchi, I was like, well, I ain't never had no gnocchi before, so just put me on. My focus was just put me on the steaks. Courtney said, she got into competition doing gnocchi, but she probably wasn't doing the right gnocchi when she first started the competition.
Do you guys have any questions right now?
Yeah, Christian, I want to ask you about last week when it was down to you and Willie. How did you feel when you watched that episode?
What was that?
How did you feel when you watched last week's episode?
When I watched the last week episode, I mean, knowing Willie behind cameras, I definitely felt bad. I really believe that Willie is an amazing cook at that. I was just more so in the moment, the focus to win, the focus to, move fast and get the work done. But far as how the cameras basically made me out to be, I know I look like a total dick, but at the end of the day, I have extreme respect for Big Willie, and we're planning on doing some great things in the near future together as well.
Nice. That makes me happy to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people listening also are happy to hear that. When your son watches you on TV, what does he do?
Well, actually, my son, he actually stays in Alabama with his mom.
Okay.
And whatnot. But from my understanding, when my son watches me on TV, he thinks I'm at work.
Oh, he goes, "There's Daddy at work."
I have watched it before with him and everything, and he said, "Dad, you going to MasterChef?" I said, "Yeah." Now I remember there was a Monday where me and my fiance was watching the show, and he was in the man cave watching. I think it was Sprout. But the next following morning, he woke up and I said, son, what do you want to eat for breakfast? What do you want to watch? The first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Dad, I want to watch MasterChef."
Yeah.
So that basically, just like made my day right there. So from my understanding, he knows that his dad's cook. He knows that his dad has a passion for cooking, and he enjoy getting in the kitchen and working with Dad.
Now, during the show, I was looking on Twitter, and you have a lot of fans. And Christian, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought a lot of people weren't going to like you this episode. I thought they were going to be upset with you from the last episode. I didn't think they were going to be rooting for you to stay. But I'm telling you, 100% of the tweets that I read on Twitter about you were supporting you. I didn't read one negative thing about you. Why do people love you so much?
I think the reason why, you know, my fans love me is because, you know, through all the cameras, through what you see on TV, I have a passion for food. You know, there's some editing I don't agree with. Reason why is because, you know, before I, you know, applied for the show, I basically told the producers and everybody more so about who I was. And I feel that with my fans, they see that, you know, a person that's been through so many things, trials and tribulations, that I cook with the passion. You know, I was an individual that lost my brother in 2003, my younger brother. You know, I lost one of my good friends in college. And, you know, I was homeless for 6 months. So, you know, I just basically cook with the passion. I feel my focus is through the course of the show. It's not about the check, you know, it's not about the check or more so the trophy. It's about more so touching somebody out there and basically showing them and telling them, you know, regardless of what you go through in life, you can overcome, you know, any obstacle that you more so have. So I feel that they more so see that a person that has been through so much and that loves to cook. And basically, you know, when I was playing football, cooking was more my straightaway. When I was going through my trials and tribulations, cooking was my straightaway. Yeah.
But not a croquembouche, though. Probably didn't cook that a lot.
Not a croquembouche.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my fiance we ain't doing no croquembouche.
Look, that is hilarious. Zach, go ahead.
Throw Zach under the bus with no question. Talking about the editing of last week's episode, I do want to ask you, what was the first thing that went to your mind when they said that you were paired with Willie? Because even if it was editing, like, you still kind of seemed a little bit sad that you were paired with Willie. Is there anything that behind the scenes that we could know about, or?
Well, I mean, honestly, I was okay to be paired with Willie, but Willie or myself, we don't know anything about no damn dancing. So why not put me with Elizabeth or maybe Cutter? Maybe. You remember I said maybe Cutter, because I'm sure they have tried those. You know, I'm sure they've tried those type of that type of food and whatnot. Man, Big Willie don't know anything about dancing. I mean, you give us some collard greens, some yams, some cornbread, some neck bones, some pork chops, yeah, or, you know, so on and so on. Maybe a steak. Then yeah, but I'm saying no.
All right. Well, getting back into tonight's episode. So we have guest Michael Schlau, who shows you guys how to cook each dish, and they make it look so easy on the edit. Like, yeah, you just, you know, you put the things in there, you throw the tomatoes on top, you put a little olive oil and put the cap on, you're done. Then the note, you know, you cut it like this, you're done. So how much did you take away from when he was cooking? Did you watch him, or did you just take notes, or was it just like you kind of were just trying?
From what the editing showed, it looked like I took more note than watching. But I think I took a lot of notes, but I also paid attention to, you know, to detail, to also what he was basically explaining and whatnot.
So we get this bonus for this competition that Gordon Ramsay's going to be the expo, and if anyone's watched Hell's Kitchen, it would put the fear of the devil inside of you to know that Gordon Ramsay is going to be your expo for a competition.
That's what made this episode so great, is because you get to see Gordon Ramsay at what I believe to be his finest. This is when I love him the most, and I'm not a chef. But I think if I were a chef, I would want to cook while Gordon Ramsay was expediting, because if you can handle that, you can handle any restaurant you ever go to.
The way he looked when Cutter and Leslie were fighting would give me nightmares if I saw that in person.
I feel
being in that environment, like, honestly, you know, me being on the side of the restaurant, basically cooking, and just looking at those two just go at it. Sometimes I wanted to stop and just tell Carter, shut the hell up and just listen. He is the captain, dude.
Sometimes I want to tell him that every day.
You gotta say, and just, you know, just go with it, regardless of what happens at the end. He's the captain, so respect the man's mind.
Exactly. So I love that clearly no one could be a captain for the blue team except you. I mean, Jamie goes, no, I don't want to do this. And then Courtney's like, I don't want to either. And then Kristen's like, fine, I'll do it. That has got to be such an opportunity for you to take advantage of. Were you nervous about it?
I wasn't nervous at all because I felt in that moment that the ship was sinking. And, you know, they was just getting what more can I say? I think they was getting very clustered in the situation. So I just felt like, you know, I'm working with women, so why not let me take the role and guide you guys regardless win or lose. You know, we still gotta come up out of the, you know, the hinges. And
you're gonna get thrown under the bus here. You're working with women, so you want to take the role. What do you mean?
I mean, meaning as when they had the job in the beginning, obviously they wasn't doing a great job.
That's true.
So once I saw that they wasn't doing a great job, I was like, you know what, let me just take this captain role, because any and everything Courtney put up in the window, it wasn't right. The gnocchi wasn't right. Then the clams wasn't right. I was like, you know what? Since you're getting so flattered with Ramsey yelling at you, you can't nut up. Because if you nut up and you see the whole, you know, once you show the team that you're nutting up, you basically showing us that you more so can't do the job. So I just felt that, you know, taking control of being captain would have been a great idea.
So I have to ask, though, as soon as you found out that you would be on a team with Jamie as the team leader, were you already mentally preparing yourself to take over as leader?
Honestly, I was not. I really thought, you know, Jamie would have done a decent job. I really didn't know how everything went from the last, I mean, I think a couple weeks ago, the challenge that we had with the football game and whatnot. But I really didn't think I would have had to take over. I just thought that, you know what, I'm sure they're just going to throw me on the steaks, put me on the grill, and they know, you know, through all the challenges that we've had, you put Christian anywhere, Christian's going to get the work done. So I never would have thought in 1,000 years that I would have been captain in that challenge at all.
Yeah, I think it's tough because Jamie probably knows up here. She knows what needs to get done, but vocalizing that,
right,
controlling a team is something that you have to be outspoken about. And Christian was, I guess, the only one, like, because Courtney got knocked down with the gnocchi. Like, she got her confidence just shot. So they needed somebody, and I guess you had to step up and sort of take the reins and drive the cart. Otherwise the horses are just going to separate.
I agree. Right. Because, I mean, when she had the captain role, I mean, I think we was, from my understanding, I think we was okay. I doubt it. But, you know, when she had the captain role, I think when Ramsey yelled at her and said, it looks like shit, I think her confidence just sank. And once it sinked, I think that was my role for me to step in and be like, yo, I cannot let this ship sink. I just cannot let this go. I mean, you know, I feel that, you know, in this situation that we in, you know, don't give up. And I just feel at that moment that they was just giving up. And I didn't want them to give up. Because, I mean, they're badass cooks. I mean, if they wasn't badass cooks, they won't be in the top 6.
Absolutely. As a viewer, Christian, I have been most impressed by you this episode. But in previous episodes, I thought you were maybe one of the weakest chefs on the show, and I did not ever think that you would be in the top 5. But this episode is the. I didn't feel like you had a broad enough skill set to be there, and I didn't feel like you could ever gain the respect of the other contestants to lead them in challenges. But this episode was the first time where I thought, I think Christian might be better than Courtney right now, because Courtney and Elizabeth are still my top girls right there. But this was the first challenge where I thought, oh no, Christian could actually do this.
Kyle's throwing shade.
I'm just an honest guy. Honesty.
I'm just curious.
I see throwing shade. But I love it though. I love it. It's all good.
I'm curious, Christian, does it go through your mind at all? Because it seemed like it came down to when they were judging like how each team did. The fact that Jamie gave up the captainship was a big part of why you guys lost. Does that cross your mind at all while you're in the room? That, like, just the fact that she's giving it up might not even matter if you right the ship.
Right. Honestly, yeah, it does. Because I felt like, you know, once I saw that, I'm not going to say Katie, but Courtney could not handle it. I felt like, you know, we started off that, and it's not how you start. It's all about how you finish. And I think we finished strong, and we finished before the red team, you know? And I feel that I should have never had I should have never had to be in the impression test. I should have never been in the impression test tonight.
We started this show, Christian. Zach brought it up saying, you know, it was not a clear-cut winner for the blue and red team, and we don't even really know why the team that won did. It seemed kind of arbitrary was the word Zach used, and I kind of agree with you. I don't think you guys were the clear losers, and you guys should be fighting for your life based on that one challenge.
I literally felt that we won.
Yeah,
I
you
told
might have
those ladies. I told Courtney and Jamie. I was like, you know, regardless of what happened in the beginning, I believe you ladies rocked it out, and I believe that we won. But at the end of the day, it's not our decision, and it's not about what we think. It's all about what the judges think. I felt that Cutter and Leslie basically, I don't know, it was basically a whole Hurricane Katrina over there. But I just felt that those two guys, it should have never went down like that. And I felt that the way how they started, don't get me wrong, they started good, but they also ended terribly.
So really the only kind of hint that we got that the blue team would lose was when they get the feedback, and they added this in probably just for a little bit, was when they said the sea bass was perfect but the steak was poorly seasoned and meat on a plate. That's literally the only negative thing we heard about either team, and I feel the editors put that in.
When I heard that, I totally disagreed.
Well, you're the one who made the steak, right?
As you should.
Right? So I do,
I totally disagree.
Speaking of Leslie and Cutter, I got to go through this fight real quick, because Cutter calls Leslie in the confessional an ex-beautician's house bitch who works for his wife, and he's a loser and a sad excuse as a man.
For a man, yeah.
Oh my! That was insane of a thing to say.
Well, I feel with Cutter sometimes I remember when I used to just tell Cutter, like, Cutter, shut the hell up, because sometimes when you talk, it just don't make sense. And I really think that was a low blow, regardless of what Leslie had going on 30, 50, 60 years ago, hair salon, doing hair. He's cooking.
That's right. You're both in the top 6.
He's winning.
I mean,
and you're on the same team.
Say this. When I first met Leslie,
gosh.
I really thought Leslie was an asshole. Totally.
I did too.
Totally. He was just so arrogant, so cocky. Ugh. But I got to know Leslie to the point where he is really a great guy. He's really a great guy. Now, as far as with Cutter, Cutter's a good dude too. But sometimes Cutter puts his foot in his own mouth to the point where Cutter need to shut up sometimes. But as far as that situation tonight, Cutter should have been a bigger person and let Leslie run his show.
But
Absolutely.
I do want to say, going back from when Leslie was the team leader and he kind of just gave up all power to Daniel and the other person who and what was his name? The other Christian kind of did the mutiny there. I'm so glad that Leslie has the confidence in the kitchen now to put Cutter in his place. Like, no, shut up. No, you look at me. You look at me when I'm talking to you. Like, that's like what a head chef would do.
Cutter has no place to be giving advice.
I know.
Cutter can't, because it's not like you said, well, you're really good, Cutter, or you've always been there.
Except, at least in this episode and what we saw, Cutter was making like reasonable points. We can be making more steaks than just the one on the order. We can be starting.
Okay, that was one reasonable point. What was his other reasonable point?
I can't remember. What started the first fight?
Yeah, there was only one. That's right. He's not a reasonable guy.
When things are moving smoothly, you don't need to create an argument when things are moving smoothly.
And here, to argue with Leslie, fine. But if Gordon Ramsay, who's also the judge and the creator of the show, is talking to you, then shut up. No matter what he says to you, your answer is yes, chef.
That threw me a loop for that episode. When I saw, I was very shocked, because I mean, I look at Ramsay as a mentor. I look at Joe Bastian as a mentor, Grammy Elliott a mentor. I mean, you guys are here critiquing my dishes and everything that I put in front of you. So obviously, you know more than me. So the best thing for me to do is to be quiet.
Exactly.
So when I saw Cutter say what he said, all I did was put my head down. I couldn't do anything else, you know. But one thing that I realized is that you can't tell Cutter anything. It's gonna go through one ear, and out the other. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the man. He's a good person, but sometimes he just needs to be quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I love my dog, but sometimes she's annoying. Like, this is just life, right? We all have our things. But
That's messed up, Kyle.
like, Cutter is, if Cutter comes on the show or calls into the show, I doubt I'll be able to ask him a question without him answering it before I'm finished. Because I feel like he can't wait. At least that's what he's showcased himself to be on the show.
Okay, so we get a
already painted before they got answer.
Bam.
So we get a rare compliment that Courtney gives to you, Christian. Courtney says that, you know what, I really think Christian is handling this well, and he's one of the better chefs in the kitchen. And moving forward, we see that Gordon just basically says, look, if you guys don't stop this arguing right now, I'm going to send both of you home, and then I'm going to go in there with Elizabeth, who's just been quietly toiling away in the kitchen this entire challenge. Elizabeth's just doing her own thing.
Smart girl. She's got it down. That girl's smart. She knows.
She's sitting there, oh my God, what are these people
Like, I'll let
doing?
these two fools, sink their ship, and I'll be sitting over here on the island.
But then she's in the pressure test if they do. But if you speak up, that's just a third voice arguing.
No,
Right.
she's a smart girl.
Right. In that situation, me on the opposite side cooking on the blue team. I mean, when I looked over there at Elizabeth, I felt bad for her. For her to be in the middle of two crazy guys going back and forth. I mean, it really didn't make any sense. But for her to hold her composure and for her to just to sit there and just to be quiet, hats off to her. So, yeah.
So Elizabeth said after the challenge, Elizabeth says she's not cut out for a kitchen cook, but she still has a dream to open her own restaurant one day, or her own like bakery or cookbooks. She wants to write cookbooks.
Be a full-time cookbook writer.
Jamie says she was not confident enough to lead the team. Leslie and Cutter said we worked through it. And Christian, you talk about your son. It talks about how it's your purpose and it's the only reason you're on the show, and you want to own your own restaurant one day. I gotta ask, if you were to create your own restaurant right now, would it be like a Southern culinary style, or what kind of theme would you go with for that?
It'd be more so comfort food. I was thinking about a few months ago opening up like a 24-hour, almost a happy hour, and call it. I won't say the name, but it would be more so like you come with friends and family, and you just have all different sorts of comfort appetizer dishes on the table, to the point where you can feed, like one appetizer can feed like 20 people, another appetizer can feed like up to 15 people.
Those are my
and
appetizers.
It's just different styles of different unique appetizers that you can just basically come into the restaurant and chill, relax, hang with friends and family. It's more finger food, amazing drinks, and also in the near future, definitely, I'm surprised they didn't put that up, is owning my own food truck.
Oh, that'd be... You got to come to LA to a food truck, because that'd be really popular.
And there's a TV show for that too.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
That kind of sounds like Americanized tapas in a way. That's kind of
bigger portions.
It's
like-
the reverse of tapas.
but
Instead of
finger
like
portion.
tiny little ones, you just get
Yeah.
a giant table full of wings.
Hey, Christian, I have a quick question that's purely selfish, but when else am I going to get to talk to you? I am going to New Orleans for a bachelor party in a few weeks, so where's the restaurant in New Orleans that I should eat at?
The restaurant, I'll say John Best.
John Best?
Restaurant, Dominica. It's pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good restaurant. Also, there's a couple restaurants on Magazine that you can probably choose from. There's more than one. I can't just give you a direct one.
All right.
Another restaurant that I like, that I enjoy eating at, is Redfish Grill. It's on Bourbon. So
All right.
just go see.
Now I got options.
You want to walk the Redfish Grill? You can, but Redfish Grill is pretty good.
Perfect.
All right. Well, moving on with the show. The winner is the red team, of course. The black aprons are passed out to Christian, Jamie, and Courtney, and you all have to make croquembouche. It sounds like
Hashtag croquembouche.
It sounds like
really German.
It
when you
really
say
does.
that, like,
Croquembouche.
It is.
It sounds not like what it looks like. It is a tower of cream puffs bound with threads of caramel and spun sugar. Christian doesn't know what it is. Jamie says, hell yeah. Ironic. Courtney says, yes, chef. And Christian says, I mean, I guess I can make it.
You got quoted so much on Twitter tonight, Christian, with your comments about croquembouche. Am I saying that right, croquembouche? Yeah. People loved it because I feel like everyone else was thinking what you were saying. Like no one knows what that is. Like 11 people in America knew what that was, and the rest of us were just finding out for the first time.
Yeah, if you just said cream puff tower, I get it.
Yeah,
but like.
Hey, they do. Graham loves his magnificent cream puff tower.
Well,
he says that like 3 times.
Graham and I are on the same level then.
So you got 90 minutes to do it. So rushing through the 3 people. Jamie's confident. She's made 5 before. She thinks Christian's vulnerable. Ironic. Courtney, they are very small, but they're like different sizes. And Courtney is really not confident at all. She's like, it could quite possibly be me going home, but she's really good with that spun sugar. Like she made that.
Courtney's good at everything.
I know,
Hers
right?
looked beautiful. It tasted great. She's wonderful.
And then when we speak with Christian, his focus is
I think they said that was mine that tasted great. They didn't say Courtney tasted great.
No,
it
they
just
did.
Good.
They said
mine tasted great.
they said Courtney's tasted great and yours tasted great, and Jamie's did not.
Dang, man. Oh, man.
So your focus is to not go home. You mentioned your son again, and you've been through a lot. You're waiting for the sugar to brown, but you are really far behind, and you have to start with sugar that's not fully caramelized. So that's kind of detriment to yourself. Have you ever made caramel that way before, MasterChef?
Honestly, I've made it one time.
Christian, how do you think your...
You know, honestly...
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
What was you going to say? I made it just one time, and I remember that episode. I see that they edited it as well, which is funny. I was, what got me through that, I was spelling my son's name more than one time. I kept spelling his name. Every ball I put on, it was his letter. And I think that's what got me through that. It's his name.
Wow.
What is your son's name?
His name is Caden.
All right, Caden. Got your dad through it.
A-I-D-E-N.
Nice.
Yep.
That was a lot of cream puffs.
Someone had a question.
Well, thank God it tasted good because it didn't look very great. So you got to kill on the taste. But I've always said, at the end of the day, I just want my food to taste good. Even if it just comes in a bowl and there's no garnish, as long as it tastes good, that's what it's all about.
It all looks the same.
Well, at the end of the competition, they don't all look the same. But honestly, I was so surprised that all 3 people actually made one that looked similar to what it was supposed to look like.
Right.
I was not expecting that at all. I thought we'd have like, well, if Cutter had made one, it probably would have been like a globe or maybe just a gigantic bowling ball sized cream puff.
Leaning tower of croquembouche.
Leaning tower of croquembouche.
It's crocking.
Whatever it is.
Stop being such a boosh, all right, man?
Rogan boosh.
All right, so for Courtney, judging begins, and we get a little side note that Elizabeth says that she can respect Courtney. Gordon says it's delicious, good job, and she says, well, I thought of my mom the whole time. Graham says it's top notch. Going to Jamie, Leslie says it looked almost exactly as the chef wanted. Gordon says none of the sugar should be seen, and the thing is literally just covered in caramel. He's worried more that one will come off. Asks her to take one off, and she has to pull a knife out and like dig and cut, and she's like, I can't get it off. Now she's slightly on the verge of tears. The profiteroles are undercooked, as Gordon Ramsay says. Now she's really crying, and then Graham walks up and says, cream's bland. And it's not even really good structurally. And then she starts crying. And then we actually did Christian before that, but I wanted to save it last because he's on the line. So hopefully the taste will get me through, is what you said. The color is different because of course, we talked about the caramel was not quite ready when you started at the beginning. You have this gigantic divot that makes it look like it hit a wall. It ripped half the cream puff and half to pull it off. But the cream puffs are actually really good. And Graham rips about 3 pieces off with 1, but the taste is good. So the taste and actually having the tower stand up and not fall over probably saved you so well in this competition. But honestly, I would be so dead in this competition. I could not make a croquembouche.
Please, I like I've said, my extent of cooking is pouring cereal into a bowl, so I can't even begin.
I mean, just that, like the science of getting the caramel to mold to be a glue and not be like a glue.
And be gross,
And
right?
then you got to realize that it is really, really hot. It's hot.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
look
you
like
got
that.
burned.
Yes, I got burned a couple times. I had blisters on my fingers.
Oh my god.
The
Yeah.
warrior marks.
So if I ever eat a croquembouche, I'll know that I'm probably eating some skin at the same time.
Christian, how great is it that you didn't go home on this one though?
I know.
Like, I mean, that would be the worst item for you to go home on.
Honestly, you know, one thing that I said about, you know, this show is, you know, I would not let this show make or break me. If I would have went home, hey, I just would have went home. I mean, one of the things is that I've beat out thousands and thousands of people. You know, I remember when I was in the top 16,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I miss my son, I miss my fiance, but I just kept cooking, you know, and I'm still cooking. And I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's not going to make or break me. I mean, the one thing I do look at is that, I mean, this is an experience that I will never forget, you know. And when I first came to the competition, and before I even signed up to be on the show, I told myself, win or lose, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm blessed to be in front of Gordon Ramsay, blessed to be in front of Joe Bastianich, and I'm blessed to be in front of Graham Elliott, and I'm basically showing the world, you know, regardless of what you go through in life, you can always overcome your trials and your tribulations. So if I would have went home, I would have went home.
Plus, I feel like if you're gonna go home on something, I'd rather go home on a croquembouche than like a medium rare steak.
Or like an
That's
egg.
true.
Because like then I'm looking at steaks all the time, like damn steak. But when are you looking at croquembouches?
For me, never.
I look at croquembouches all night long.
Oh, that could be a joke right there.
It could be, but it was not.
Well, Christian, people are really resonating with your story. It's very evident, and that makes me very happy because I think a lot of people take their time on reality TV and they don't ever use it for anything other than their own benefit. And while I think you should use this for your own benefit, and everyone should, if you can also inspire others to be better and to go after what they want, then that's a win-win-win right there. So great job for you.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you
of
very
course, Jamie Vitolo is voted off. She's absolutely breaking down in tears.
My heart ached for that little girl.
I know, you feel kind of sorry. Christian, of course, is safe.
One of the things I can say about Jamie, and if she is listening, I miss you so much, Jamie. You are amazing. Is that Jamie is a badass baker. Okay.
You know this.
And if God blesses me to open up an amazing restaurant, Jamie or Willie will be the two that I will call to come do my dessert.
Wow.
Any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Wow.
Any day of the week.
It almost sounded like Gordon offered her a
The
job.
relationships that I've built with those two individuals is something that I will never change for the world. They call me tomorrow and say, Christian, I need you to do something. I'm there. No doubt about it.
Love that. Love that.
Well, Gordon does kind of offer to hook her up with a job. It's
She's
kind
like,
of
you're in New York. We're in New
interesting.
York. Let's chat.
Jamie, you may have been conquered by the croquembouche, but I just wanted to say conquered by the croquembouche.
My favorite thing when Steven does accents. Out of all the things.
Out of all the things,
That's my favorite.
He
They're
likes
never
it
good,
when
but they
he
are
likes it when
amusing.
I do accents more than he used to like you, Christian.
Yes. But now I do like you, Christian. I just want to be clear. I'm very upfront. I say it to your face.
He is very upfront. So, guys,
So
we
I'm
have.
guessing you didn't like me in the beginning, man. That hurt my feelings, man.
Oh, well, you know, it's nothing personal.
It's okay,
I
Kyle's-
don't know you personally.
But you know what? I'm used to it because, you know, through the course of my life, I always had people to tell me, you know, I really thought you was this certain way. But once you meet me and get to know me, you think so totally different about me.
Sure. And I'm just judging you on your cooking skills, not anything else.
No, on what they show on the show, not your cooking skills, what they show on the show. Man, it all goes to just haters gonna hate.
But I think honestly, the pork chop should have been on the balcony. Hands down. I don't care how many times Courtney used the apple.
Oh, we
mean,
just
I
went
had-
way
I
back.
had a real big pork chop, man. That was a big pork chop.
Yeah, I hear you. I remember. Yeah, no, you've had your moments. But I think this is your shining episode.
Grits, black and
Shrimp
salmon.
and grits. There you go.
That shrimp and grits look bomb, and I still mention it. I even mentioned it in the tweet today. Christian, I gotta ask, Two-part question. Do you know who wins MasterChef? And if you don't, can you tell us who you think is going to win MasterChef Season 5?
All I gotta say, my man, is getting hot in the kitchen, and you gotta keep watching.
Bum, 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 dun, dun, dun. Perfect.
So do you guys have any more questions? Wow, there's silence. Who do you absolutely hate from... No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Why? That's a great question.
I don't know. Is there anything that they filmed this season that you would have really liked us to have seen, but we didn't get to see because it got edited out?
Well, I don't know if they're gonna show my story, or more so who Christian is. But did they take out anything? No, I think y'all needed to see. Y'all saw what y'all needed to see. I guess. I just felt that. I felt that they should have showed maybe my story a little bit to give you guys an open eye view of who I really am. I mean, I'm not an asshole. You know, I'm not a dick. You know, but I that's one thing I do wish is that they could have showed a little bit more of my personality and more so who I am, because, you know, I'm not that mean guy. You know, I cook with a purpose and I cook with passion and I love what I do. You know, and like I said before, I'm a good guy.
Well, I think we're going to see that a lot, hopefully, next week, because you guys start seeing your families come in, and that is really the time where they start to dive in and let us know who you guys are, so we can fall in love with you before you win or before you get kicked off.
We have 2 episodes left.
Right.
What?
Wait, what?
2 left.
I think, right? The 13th is the finale, isn't it, Christian?
That's it.
I don't even know. I really don't
Only
know.
a top
You just
5.
gotta keep watching, bro.
Yeah, but you know how they do that. They like cut.
You gotta keep watching. Hey, like Willie say, give me some money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
my
the best. That's the best answer. You want to know? It's 150 grand.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You know, keep watching.
Christian, thank
It's gonna
you.
get hot.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for being such an entertaining component to the show. And we'll be watching next week. So if you win, we'd love to have you on again. And if you don't win, we'd love to have you on again. How about that? Either way.
Wow, he said if you win, we'll love to have you, and if you don't, wow. But all I gotta say is I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me on the show, and keep watching.
All right.
Thank you, Christian.
Later, Christian.
Have a good night. Guys, that was kind of cool.
We like Christian.
Seems like a great dude.
we like him.
We have 2 episodes left in the season
Really?
of MasterChef. We
All
have
right,
2
so-
episodes.
Wait,
Let's
so
go
it's
into
2 weeks to the
predictions.
finale?
Let's get into predictions.
You just blew my mind.
Let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz
3rd time's the charm, guys. All right.
You,
2
you
episodes
double
left.
checked that.
Double checked it. Every season is 16 episodes, and wait, wasn't this episode
They'll go.
15?
They'll go from top 5, and then they'll do like the top 3, and then they'll pick a winner.
I'm pretty sure the 13th is the last one, right?
We'll find out. Zach, what are your predictions for the show?
I mean, my favorites are still Courtney and Elizabeth.
Me too.
I like nothing else has shown me that anyone has the success rate of those 2.
Oh,
they
wait.
just don't mess up.
Even after talking to Christian for 20 minutes, you don't think he's gonna win?
I think he's a skilled chef.
No. Do you think he's gonna win?
No.
All right.
I think he could win. He deserves it, but I think that it's still going to be Courtney or Elizabeth. I would say Courtney over Elizabeth by a hair. By a hair.
By a gorgeous blonde or brunette string of hair. I think that it is Elizabeth and Courtney as the top 2 contenders. I think Cutter's, shouldn't be there. If he calls in, I'll tell him that.
If Cutter wins,
if Cutter wins, then it's not a big deal. I'll be like, well, if Cutter can win. I mean, who really cares?
I would love to read that cookbook. I'd be so fascinated to read a Cutter cookbook.
Yeah, open a beer. Great. Now cook chicken. All done. But Elizabeth and Courtney are my top 2. However, I disagree with you on who's better. I think Elizabeth is better.
Again, I'm not saying better. I'm saying I think Courtney wins.
Okay, well that's who I mean. I think Elizabeth wins because I think she's better. Courtney plays the game better than Elizabeth, but I think Elizabeth is a better chef, a master chef perhaps, compared to Courtney.
Stephen
Mr.
Lemieux.
Steven.
I'm just looking.
Stop playing Pac-Man.
No, I'm trying to figure out when the finale is, but I can't figure it out. It might not be, but we have a 2-hour episode next week.
Okay, so it's
what?
probably September 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just the last season.
So who
only
do you
had
think's going to win?
The point is, check your local listings
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
whatever's happening.
It's not our job to tell you when the
Honestly,
last
we're
season.
not. We can never tell when shows are ending or starting. It's crazy. So we're at top 5 right now. We have Christian, Cutter, Courtney,
Leslie,
and Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're gonna have. Sadly, sorry, Christian. I think Christian's going home next week, and I think.
even though it's gonna get hot.
There's no way. Cutter's going to leave because America will be the sigh of relief and
No, I
actually
think
watch.
2 people are going home next week. Is what I'm saying.
Cutter, Christian.
I don't think it's going to be Cutter. I think it's probably going to be Courtney and Christian going home next week.
Whoa, bold prediction.
Yeah.
Cutter's like a magical elf that manages to stick around no
Well,
matter how much adversity he faces.
It would make sense if they put Cutter in the top 3 and then they decided between 3 people, because then they're really only deciding between 2 people.
Right.
I mean, no offense to Cutter, but I just don't believe at this.
So then who's your final...
Yeah, who wins?
Who wins?
So at this point, it's between Elizabeth, Cutter, and Leslie. I think Leslie wins.
Interesting.
You're
He
talking
definitely has
about
the
that
skills.
ex-beautician bitch who's married to his wife?
The ex-beautician house bitch who works for his wife.
That's the thing, is at this point, they all have the skills. Cutter has magical skills, apparently, because he just, he hasn't blown anyone away with his cooking, but he survives.
There's one thing I love about a good season of Survivor, and that is the people who are constantly sent to the elimination challenges, and they constantly just save themselves. And I have loved that about Leslie this season.
But Leslie's a good chef.
He's a great chef.
Oh, yeah,
He
Leslie.
deserves
Cutter
to win.
is not. So this show is called MasterChef.
Cutter's
so we should
not
right
bad.
there. So we should have
He's not as good as Leslie, though.
Cutter,
or any of the people remaining on the show.
but Cutter manages. He does it when it counts, when he needs to.
When did he do it? Remind me, because I am lost for a time where he did it when it counted.
He nailed the egg challenges that he had to do. He messed up once and then he nailed it on the egg yolk ravioli. He's nailed it before. He manages to do it at the most opportune times, as if the pressure's getting to him.
Well, that's what I think. I think Leslie's going to take it. I think it's going to be a huge upset to a lot of fans on Twitter.
We have Courtney, Elizabeth, and Leslie.
Oh, that's...
Lord.
Let's see, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the MasterChef After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. I have been your host for the evening, Stephen Lemieux. You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, written right here, StephenLemieux, or doing the Graceland After Show, which this weekend we have Jeff Easton, the creator of Graceland, and White Collar in studio on our show with us, as well as next week with 2 actors from the show, Jamie Gray Hyder and Eric Valdez, as well as doing the Strain After Show Sundays at 9 p.m. Check those out. Where can we find you guys?
I don't know if you can find me right here, so if it's Steven, just keep following him. Otherwise, at Kyle_Kittleson.
And you guys catch me on Twitter and Instagram at ThatZachWilson, ThatzachWilson. And also here at AfterBuzz on The Strain with Stephen Lemieux. The Leftovers we're wrapping up this week. I've got some new shows coming up this fall. Grace Point on Fox. Going to be doing Z Nation on Sci-Fi, Doctor Who on BBC, and we're going to start doing Doctor Who classics. If you're a big fan of the show and want to get into the old stuff, tune in.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been MasterChef Season 5, Episode 15 After Show. Next week, we'll do Season 5, Episode 16, Top 5 Perform. See you then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.